Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Blue, and I'm back with another Elyon video for you guys just before beta launches. And I know a lot of people have been asking, okay, what do I do when beta launches? How do I progress? All of that good stuff. So I'm here to answer your question. First things first, I think the big thing is probably a lot of players going to try to rush to level 40. And the best possible way to do so is when you first start off, you're going to have these yellow quests. The yellow quests, as you see on the right-hand side, these are going to be your main story quests. You're definitely going to want to make sure you do those. And there are going to be times, though, where you reach a certain part of like the main story quest where you can't progress further until you level up. For example, I am level 24, as you see on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. But on the right side, it says the next story quest starts at level 26. So when that happens, there are going to be other quests you can do, such as side quests that are typically marked with the green icon. It's like a green square with a diamond in the middle. These are going to be in all the different zones. There are going to be different side quests for you to do, which will reward you with some gold, EXP, and some items that might help you on your progression journey. And once you do those, they should level, as long as you keep up doing all the green and yellow quests, they should like kind of keep you with within the correct level. There might be times where you might be like slightly off, maybe a level or half a level off. If that's the case, just go ahead and kill some mobs in the area to help you level up. There are going to be some other quests that are blue icons. I actually can't show you these here yet, but you might see quests with the blue square icons. Those are daily quests. You don't have to worry about those just yet. If you run out of all your quests and you still can't reach the next level, and you don't want to just sit and kill the same mobs, you can do some daily quests. They might give you some easy EXP and some items. But for the most part, your yellow and green quests, along with maybe killing a few mobs here and there, should be the way to level up. Up until you reach like level 36, 37, you might hit a point from either 35 to 37 to where you can't really progress further in the story without grinding. You're going to run out of quests, you're going to run out of general quests, and you're just not going to have any more quests to do until you reach level 40. And that's the point where you just pretty much sit and grind. If you guys play Black Desert Online, you guys are no stranger to the grinding. And that's basically it. There are some purple quests. Purple quests are typically like new areas. They like if it's like a new zone that you haven't been to or a new region, they might have like a quest, a purple quest with a purple box. Go ahead and do those as well. Those are definitely worth doing. Pretty much your yellow, green, and purple are the only ones really worth doing while you're leveling. The blue ones, if you get bored and you want to do some more quests, feel free to do so. But keep in mind, you're essentially limited to 20 dailies a day. So it's not that reliable. The greens and yellows, you're going to do them no matter what. But the blue ones are pretty much limited. So like if you do the early on daily quests, then later once you hit level 40 in the beta, if it hasn't reset yet and there's quests that you want to do for some pretty good items to help you with progression, you're not going to be able to do them. But yeah, so once you're around level 35, level 37, you're pretty much going to be grinding. There are a few places you can grind, depending on what your gear is like. In the 35 to 36 conflict zone, there's actually some guards that you can go ahead and attack and kill. Those are probably going to be some of the more popular spots. But again, it's a conflict zone, so you're probably going to have a lot of PvP there. A few other spots that you can go and kill are some mobs in the level 29 and 31 area. They're not that hard to kill. And it's pretty easy. It should be pretty easy, especially once you're 35, 36. But you're not going to get as much EXP because you're 35 to 36. So other places you can go is if you're 35, 36 and there's a lot of you guys, maybe like 5 to 10 of you guys all trying to kill, you can actually move over to the higher level zones and start killing some of those mobs. Or even if you're just one or two of you and like maybe another friend, you can go to the 38 to 39 zones and kill those mobs. Some of those are actually easy enough for you to solo depending on where your gear's at. You can also avoid conflict zones completely by going to the zones right underneath that. I actually leveled to 40 at these little eyeballs guys here. I did this solo and I literally just spent my entire time once I finished all the quests leveling to 40 with these eyeballs. And another thing that you can do if you have enough people, once you're level 39 to 40 and you have a decent amount of gear, in the level 42 to 44 zone, there are these guards. You're not going to be able to solo them, but if there's a lot of players, you can just farm out all the guards there. That's what a lot of players did from like level, I think level 41 or so to 45. Basically, we just like spam guards. No matter who was there, we pretty much anywhere between 5 players to 10 players, we were just killing the guards. Obviously, if it's like 10 players and it's congested, if you're not doing a lot of damage to the guards, you're probably not going to be getting as much EXP, and you might want to consider some of the other lower level areas. Really quick, one thing I didn't mention, but I do want to make note of, is you can also have some orange quests. Orange quests are event quests that can spawn in the open world. I kind of cover that in the PvE gameplay video, but basically if you have them, you can do them, but they're not really worth, like if you're trying to level to 40 ASAP, unless you know exactly how to do it, some of them aren't really worth. Some of them are just killing mobs, but then some of them are more like puzzle games, and they're not always worth. So it's kind of up to you if you want to do them. I mean, it kind of adds a little bit, like a few minutes of just something different. So in that sense, it could be fun. But yeah. All right, so moving on. Now, let's say you're 40 and you don't know what to do now. How do you make money? There's a few different ways you can make money. One of them is doing your dailies that I mentioned before. Some dailies will give you different rewards. Some dailies will give you rewards that you can sell on the marketplace that might be worth a good amount. Some of them will just give you straight up items that you can vendor for money, and some of them will give you various different enhancement mats, as well as rune stones. Rune stones are basically the crystals that you can put in your gear. They can give you skill points for your actual skills, but they also give you skill points towards that specific color's rune tree. Rune trees are a whole other separate part of progression. They can give you bonus damage, bonus CCs, bonus CC breaks, bonus shields, heals. There's so many different portions that runes can cover in your build. Red is pretty much primarily damage. Orange is revolves around a lot of like CC, control CC, and things of that nature. You can also get bonus damage based off of the type of CC that you output. Yellow is pretty much your main one for grinding. It can increase your, or one of the main ones for grinding. It can increase your drop rates and EXP. It also, this right here, the first slot of the first skill, actually, you have a 2% chance when you kill a mob to reset your cooldowns. And so that can be pretty useful. You also have one to where there's a 2% chance when you kill a mob to summon just 4 giant fireballs that will land, do a lot of damage, and CC the mobs as well. It doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it procs kind of often when you kind of consider you're pretty much killing, you know, at times you can kill anywhere between 10 to 20 to 30 mobs at a time. Or you're aggroing in one pack anywhere between 10 to 20. 30 might be a little over the limit, but you're pretty much probably going to be killing like 10 to 20 mobs at a time at some point, and so it can be really useful. The other part of yellow that's really popular is the 33 points into yellow. You can use this to get 9 extra skill points across all the different other colors on the skill tree. So that means if you got 33 yellow, you would all of a sudden would have 9 green, 9 blue, 9 purple, 9 orange, and an extra 9 red. So it's pretty popular to use this to expand the different parts or the different things that you can get. And then after you get 33 points in yellow, you would go for like 48 in like purple, blue, somewhere else. But yeah, green is your support. It has heals, it has shields. The cool thing is the ultimate version, the level 48 or the 48 points into green, you can summon a giant Tin Man. Let's see. Yeah, right here. You can summon a giant Tin Man to fight for you. It's kind of interesting. There's a few other cool things. One of the other kind of popular for some classes is 33 green allows you and your party members to see stealth players up to, I believe, 30 meters and within your vicinity. So it's actually really strong, especially if in open world against like assassins or just in group fights in general. If you know you're gonna be fighting a lot of assassins, it could be useful as at least one person in your party to have 33 green. Blue is where you get your shields and your health back per various things. You get shields for doing different things, such as if you block or evade an attack. You can also gain a shield for doing damage, like crit damage or range damage or back attacks. The other thing for blue, again, is shields. Again, through crit damage, through block or evading. You can also get health back whenever you do crits, whenever you land crits or things of that nature, or blocking and evading will give you health back. There's a few different options for blue. It's more your defensive rune tree. And then purple is your kind of a trade-off rune tree. You can get stats, but you also lose stuff. Like you can do more damage, but you take more damage. You can gain more move speed, but you lose attack speed and things of that nature. So purple is actually really popular. It's probably one of the most popular ones for PvE. Again, almost everyone is going 33 yellow into a 48 of another skill. 48 points is like essentially your ultimate version of each of the different rune tree. You can only have one 48 active at a time. So if you have 48 purple on this specific skill, you can't have any other 48s active. So even if you have 48 points in red and purple, you can't have 48 red and 48 purple. You can only have one active at a time. But the really popular thing with PvE with purple is that there's a version of pretty much where you take some health, but you do damage to multiple mobs around you. So it essentially adds extra DPS and also helps you aggro mobs at the same time. So it just increases your money per hour while you're grinding. And another popular 48 purple build, more or less in the PvP area, is this right here, which allows you to essentially go into this invulnerable state of like this little green spirit. For those guys who play Black Desert, think of it like your V. But you could also, while you're in that state, you take a little bit of damage, but every time you take damage, you also do damage to players in the area as well. So it's like it's kind of like the version that I just said, but it's like less damage output overall, but you're also invulnerable now. These are toggleable. Toggleable? I don't think that's the word. You can toggle these skills. There is kind of like a reactivation time, but you can essentially toggle it and keep it up as much as you can until you turn it off. There's a build that goes really well with this, is having, at least 12 blue, so that way whenever you like tick damage, you can potentially heal for some of that back or gain shields, because if you do crit damage, you'll also heal up. And the cooldown for the healing is like the same cooldown as it is for losing damage in the purple. So you can kind of mix and match some of these different things to really go well with you, with the way you play. So you're level 41. Now what? We mentioned runes and how to and like what the importance of runes or your crystals, right? So the other thing would be obviously just upgrading your gear. At the start, you could probably just use like full +4 blue gear. You're gonna get a lot of blue gear drops and whatnot just from killing the mobs and leveling up. So you can probably just get like +4 gear for now, and then work towards maybe +6 to +8. I don't think we're gonna see anybody with full +8 gear on the beta, to be honest. But definitely you want to for sure level up your weapon as much as you can. Don't use this weapon when you're doing the quest line. You're gonna receive a blue offhand that has 6 crystal slots. That's gonna be your go-to offhand until you hit level 40 or 41. Then there'll be another quest that gives you a purple version. The importance or the good thing about that purple or the blue or purple offhand that gives you 6 crystal slots is it allows you to get to high level points of runes or high points of runes fairly quickly, which will increase your low end or your low gear kind of money per hour while you're grinding, or just your damage output or survivability rate if you choose to go the blue route or green route. It pretty much just allows you to get high rune points quickly. So the places you can grind for money, there's a few different spots. If you're level 40 and you have friends that are grinding with you, guards is probably going to be the main one, pretty popular spot. It's right over here in the 42 to 44 conflict zone. If you're solo, another spot that I know for a while people were grinding were right over here. These little griffins that is pretty easy to kill. And then on top of that, there's also another spot right over here. Um, right over here, there's a pretty interesting spot. If you have like, I actually did this for a little bit at level 39. It was like 10 to 15 of us, and we basically, there's this road. Um, I can't really show it on the map, but there's this road, and pretty much what you would do is, while you're on the road in this like little area over here, or maybe it was over here. I actually don't remember. Let me see. Yeah, it was actually right over here. Sorry. It's right over here. While you're on the road over here, there's like mobs on both sides of the road. So what you would do is like like the entire group would go to one side of the road, literally aggro all the mobs together and just nuke them all. Then you just go to the other side of the road, do the same thing. You go back and forth, back and forth. It worked really well with like warlords to pull the mobs, or mystics, elementalists, and gunners had a lot of AoE at the time. Had a decent amount of AoE to kill the mobs. Assassin was okay. Assassin PvE, honestly, especially in this closed beta, is not going to be that great. I'm going to tell you right now. For those of you guys who are assassins, I'm sorry. I'm assassin main, but PvE wise, not going to be that great in the beta. But have no fear, in the season 2 Sephiroth system, or in season 2, so what's currently live in Korea, Assassin's PvE is like top notch. I don't think it's the best, but it's very good. So have no fear. But yeah, so pretty much you're just gonna grind for money. Pretty good spots to grind for money are spots, pretty much you gotta find spots that have decent trash loot. So when you click on the different grind areas and hover over the trash, it'll tell you how much gold it is, how much silver or gold it's worth. It's, for example, this spot is 107 gold. The closer you are to the enemy faction, so the conflict zones, are gonna have the most trash loot value wise. But keep in mind, you're gonna have PvP there, so there's a chance that it may not be the best money per hour because of PvP. But basically, you want to go to wherever you can get the most money in terms of trash loot value, while killing them fairly quickly. You don't want, especially if you're solo, you don't want to spend like more than a few seconds killing the mob. If you're spending like 10 to 20 to 30 seconds killing a mob, you should probably reconsider your grind spot when it comes to money per hour. So some players will go to, even though they might be level 40, they'll go to like level 35, 36, 38, 39 zones to kill mobs to make more money per hour. Also, don't be afraid to leave loot on the ground. If you leave loot on the ground, it's okay. It'll last there for a good like 15-20 minutes, even potentially even longer. So like in this looting in this game, you just have to step over it, so you'll come back to it in your rotation. Find a little rotation, do it. Don't worry about loot on the ground. Just you'll pick it up, or your pet will pick it up at some point. And if you finish your grinding and you see some loot there, you just go pick it up. It'll most likely still be there. It's not like BDO to where you need to loot quickly, otherwise it's going to be gone. Really touched on this topic too much, so I figured now's the best time to do it, is skills. So in this game, you have about 24 different skills. Let me get somewhere a little bit safer than where I'm at. But basically, in this game, you have like about 24 different skills with, give or take, 4 different variations. You know what? I guess we can just fast travel while we talk about this. So you can pay gold to like actually fast travel to different cities of your faction, which can be kind of helpful. At the start, you probably don't want to, just because at the start you might not have much gold to begin with, so it can be kind of a sink. But once you like get some gear and you're making good money, then you can start to just spend money on fast travel. Okay, so skills. Skills, there are 24 different skills in the game. Or, sorry, classes have 24 to 25 different skills. They just added this new skill, but in order to get it, you have to be level 48 to buy this thing for about 10 million gold to be able to use it. So, I'm not getting that anytime soon. Anyways, let's continue. So, there's about 24 to 25 different skills per class, with 4 different variations of that skill, which means, you know, the variations can completely or drastically change the skill, from it being a damaging skill to being more now mobility, to maybe having, instead of damage, having more CC to it, or just increasing the damage on it. there are different there's different variations for each skill, and that can kind of help you choose what kind of playstyle you want to play. If you look at my hotbar, you can actually only put 9 to 10 different skills on your hotbar for your class. This TP1 slot is actually unlocked because I have a breakthrough offhand on. When if I don't have a breakthrough offhand on, this actually becomes a locked slot, and I can only use 9 different skills. So because of that and the different build variations, it definitely adds like this whole other depth to it, to where just because you see 5 different assassins all next to each other, it doesn't mean they're gonna play the same. You might run up against an assassin that's Katarina spin to win build, or you might run up against an assassin that's more like a Talon or Zed type TPing build. You might run up against or a Talon invisible build where he's just like literally going invisible, playing in and out of stealth with a few different skills. Or you might run up against an assassin that's like a subtlety rogue in WoW, and just like going off of some CC and whatnot. There's so many different build paths that you can take, and skills are just one part of it. So to continue with the skills, when it comes to the different variations, you essentially unlock all of the skills by level 40. When you level up, you unlock the base version of skills along with the tier 1 and the tier 2 versions. So the gray and the green versions. Blue skills get unlocked through various quests. Typically, you're going to get them through I believe green or purple quests. I believe the purple quest should unlock blue skills. It might be green quests. Normally it's the quest to kill the bosses, but they've also added a vendor in main cities, so you can tell if it's your main city because it literally has like this giant banner for the name. And I'll actually go to a main city now to show you the vendor. But they have a vendor now to where you can just straight up buy the tier 3 versions, which is kind of nice because sometimes some of the quests would be like, hey, you have to go kill X boss to receive this skill, and nobody's killing it, so you kind of stuck soloing it. And for certain classes, it wasn't that bad, and you know, thankfully Assassin has a lot of evasion skills, so it's a lot more doable. But some classes I could see struggling a lot more with it. So when you go to your main city, you will see a vendor. I believe he's right here with this fist. This vendor actually allows you to buy the tier 3 versions of all the skills for 10k gold apiece. So it's kind of nice. The tier 4 versions, or the purple tiers, these are the more rare skills. They're not, as you can see, I don't have them all unlocked. These skills you have to unlock or get by killing world bosses or field bosses on the map. I explain more about field bosses and when they spawn in the PvE video. So if you would like to see that, definitely check out the PvE gameplay content overview video. But yeah, so you can get them through there or on the marketplace. Let's say somebody else actually got a tier 4 skill and they already have that skill and they don't want it. They can sell it on the marketplace. But those can be sometimes expensive for the more meta skills. Some skills are pretty cheap, but the more popular skills, are the skills that are currently what you would consider in meta for said class, might be a lot more expensive. Like a good example with that would be this skill here is really popular in Korea, and that's why you see it at 2 mil and you don't see it at any other lower price, sadly. And then you see a skill like this that's not that popular and it's as cheap as 11,000 gold, right? So yeah, so it just depends on the build, on the builds and like the popularity. For a while, at one point, this poison skill was at least like 2 to 3 mil as well. But yeah, so that's skills. The way that you would use them for your build is you would pretty much put whichever skill you want to put on your hotbar, and now you can use it. Hold on, let me go ahead and put this back on. And now you can use that skill. If you want to use a variation of that skill, it's going to cost skill points. These white numbers here next to each variation tells you how many skill points it's going to cost. And at the top, it tells you how many skill points you've used versus how many skill points you have. So I have 197 skill points to use, and I haven't used any. If I were to click on this, because I want to use this tier 4 version that I already have unlocked, it's going to cost 63 skill points. And now you see I've used 63 out of 197, and this green number tells me how many I have left. I click on the right side to save it, and now it's on my hotbar. Now, there are presets you can save, and you can switch them out interchangeably without needing to buy, you know, anything from the cash shop. You don't need a value pack or anything like that. For those guys who play BDO, yes, that means you won't need an Old Moon book or an Armstrong skill guide. You literally, all you need to do is you start off with two skill presets that you can save and download, or I guess download would be the best way to put it. Basically, you just activate it by clicking the right one. I guess, yeah, activating this preset will give you the skills on that preset. If you click on the left side, the saving button, that just saves the preset to that area. You can also click on the text part and rename them as well. It starts with 2. You can buy more with gold, but each slot gets more, literally becomes double the price. So if I want to get the 6th slot, it's going to be 80k gold. But if the 7th slot, it's going to be 160k, and the 8th is going to be 320k. So I pretty much have 5 slots. I don't really need an extra slot for now, but maybe in the future I might.